Hey everybody, Bill with Warehouse Creations. I was having some thoughts, so I made a video. I also didn't feel like getting pretty to do an intro, so here's a Highland cow to look at. Moo. Hey everybody. So I'm going to do a little video today, working at Earthwork Studio today, which is where I teach beginner and intermediate classes, and I'm having some things happen with particularly my intermediate students, where when they pull, the pieces always seem to be a little bit, they get thinner and thinner and thinner on the base. You know, they like maybe want a 3-inch base and they end up with a 2-inch base, and a lot of it is the way they're pulling. So we're going to do a little video to maybe help them understand a little bit about how that works better for you. So I'm just going to go through the process of centering here. I'm sure you've all seen videos on this, but centering, coning. I think coning is really important, not just because somebody taught you, hey, you ought to cone up and down and cone up and down, but you can really feel a lot about what's going on with the clay. You can feel if there's an unevenness in it. You can feel the homogenization of it. If you're paying attention to what your fingers and your hands are telling you, you find those air bubbles. If you find them, you can usually do something about them. Anyway, a couple of cones up and down. And we're going to do a couple of pieces today. They're going to be the same. It's just going to be a straight cylinder, nothing really super exciting. But the idea is that we tend to teach, you got to get up underneath the clay and dig underneath there and get you a chunk and then lift that chunk up. And I think what they hear is everything comes from the outside. Maybe they're not paying attention to the fact that we need to come in from the inside a little bit. So this first one is going to be what they normally do. And we'll show you. We're going to start off, that should be about, 3 3/4 inches across. Get to the inches side. Not quite there yet. Let's go down a little more. 3 3/4. Hey, there we go. All right. It's a pound of clay, and go through all the processes that we normally go through when I'm teaching. So we're going to go down here, and just for the purposes of accuracy, for teaching purposes, we're going to check that center hole and see if it's the right depth. We're looking at about 1/4 inch or so. What do we got? A little much. And let's go down a little further. See where we are. Yeah, that's good enough. What you think? I think that's fine. All right. I like to put my thumb back down in there and cover over that hole so that so the water doesn't get down into that section. I don't know if that would cause a problem. Could cause that cracks. Who knows? Weakens that center section. Try and pull open as flat as you can, like you want it anyway. Compress that inside. Now, we're going to open that center section a little less. So apparently at this point my brain told my mouth to stop working. What I meant to say was we're going to open this base a little less than we normally would because we're going to push from the inside and open it up. We opened it up to about 3 inches on both of these once we're done. Less. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and do it the way I want them to do it. We'll start with that one. So this is going to be pressure from the outside, or from the inside, and very little from the outside. All right, so got that done. The way I teach this, first thing is this just rides in here. It doesn't really go anywhere, and the clay is just going to ride up the finger. The hand doesn't go up, but a little bit of pressure from the outside And we're just going to use our fingertip and we're going to roll that over onto our hand. Compress the top some. Now, first couple of moves, there is going to be a little bit of pressure from the outside so that we can get that where we want it, a little on the inside. And a nice slow lift. Compress. Do just a little bit from the outside. And it's basically setting the thickness of our walls. And from here on out, I'm not going to be pressing on the outside a whole lot. You're not going to see that indention, that little dimple go underneath. You're going to see the pressure come from the inside. So we're widening the inside base as we go. So just a little support pressure right here. And you'll see the inside pushed out and over. And then we'll bring that up. Nice and evenly. Release a little pressure at the top. Sit there for a second and say, hi, how you doing? And give it a little compression. Keep that top rim nice and strong. Very little pressure, not a whole bunch. Push from the inside. Grab it. Come on up. Sit there and say hello. And a little compression. Maybe one or two more. But no pressure from the outside. Very little, just support. Pressure from the inside. Ring. And we're going to bring that up. Press that. We'll do one more. We've got a little clay left in the bottom. And from the inside, grab it. Release that pressure. Say hello and slow off. That just about does it. Okay? So we will get the water out of the inside. Nobody likes a wet base. Not good. Like I said, I don't normally do a lot of videos or work out of the work studio where I teach. But since I'm going to be teaching it here, I figured I would do the work here. And yes, this is just a sample piece, but let's go ahead and finish off that rim. I usually have a chamois around, but I'm not in my studio, so just using a little finishing sponge, make that sweet and pretty. Grab our wooden knife. I'm going to take a little bit of that excess off the outside. I like to run down the side here. Good pressure, hold nice and tight. Go all the way down to the base. Let it sit for a second. Get some of that goober out of the way. Put it at an angle, cut it. Take that extra off. Get that over there. Do a little undercut. Makes it pretty. Oh, that's not pretty. That was ugly. Get that excess out of there. And there you have it. Nice little cylinder. And we're going to cut it in half. Well, let's measure first. Let's see, we are about 3.5 inches wide there from top to bottom. Cut it down to the base. Take that off. Hey, that worked pretty well. And as you can see, fairly decent thickness of walls going up and down here. Always going to be a little thicker maybe at the bottom, unless we try it a little further. Maybe one more pull, we could have gotten rid of that right in there. But let's see what we got. Got about 3.5 inches. There it is, right there. Hope you can see that. All right, so that's the first one. This is what I'm trying to teach them, is pushing from the outside and not from the, or sorry, pushing from the inside, not from the outside. So the pressure, this stays and this goes over, and then you pull. So we got another one slammed down there real quick. We'll set that pretty thing aside over here for later. Stay up over there. All right, this is reclaimed clay. May have said that. And it's straight out of the pugger. It's one of the joys of having a pugger is makes reclaim so much easier. And let's see. Well, that's an ugly one. We'll use that one. I don't always like, it doesn't have to be in a ball or anything. I just kind of like to smooth up the bottom of that one. Smack it. Everybody does things differently. There's no right, no wrong way unless it just doesn't work. If it doesn't work, that's probably the wrong way. Oh, see, you can feel that inside is not happy. So we're going to comb this up and down a few times. I like to go underneath and feel that inside part of the clay first, and then work my way slowly up, feeling for anything that feels like it's got a weird undulation inside. Maybe feel for those air holes. I don't feel anything goofy anymore. Maybe I've gotten rid of that inner wobble. Wobble. Get us back out to that 3 3/4. That's not it yet. That's probably it. 3 3/4. Just so you see, I'm not lying. All right, and this will show you what I think that a lot of my students are doing by using a lot of pressure coming from the outside. I'm going to go down. We're going to check our thickness down there. See where we're at. A little more. Just a smidge. I like to be consistent when we're experimenting, when we're testing stuff. There we go. That'll work. Cover that hole back over. Find my sponge in the bucket. Open it up. As flat as we can make it. Doing everything about as close to the same as I can as the last one. Compress, compress, compress. Don't want air cracks. Don't want S cracks. And again, these fingers not going to do anything on this first one. They're just there for the ride. They are not going to go forward. They're not going to go backwards. A little pressure at the bottom and just ride that outside finger up the inside finger. Nice and easy. And a little compression. So again, the first couple, we're going to have a little pressure from the outside and the inside just to start with even walls. Just a little bit, not a bunch. If I had some calipers, I'd measure that, but I don't. So from here on out, this is what my students do. And yes, they were taught to get underneath and lift, but I'm not doing anything from the inside. See that? That's all from the outside. I'm going to grab that little chunk there. We're going to bring that up. Nice and easy. Slow and loose at the top. Say hello and come off slow. And there you go. Now let's get up underneath there again from the outside. Grab that. Don't forget to slow your wheel down some. Slow your throw speed down some. I think you can already see this is getting pretty thin. We'll do one more. Yeah, push that inside. Get up underneath it. Get up underneath it. Bring that up. Well, look what's already happening. Man, that is just not what we want, is it? So, let's clean that up. Let's get our sponge on a stick. Get that water out of there. I always like to take my sponge and ride it up the inside there, that inside wall, so I can dry it out so that we get a little better evenness when we're drying. So, just so this looks visually similar, since the other one was a straight cylinder, we're going to collar this up. You can see a height different quite a bit. If you need any more proof of what I'm trying to talk about, do the same thing we did before. Ride that knife down the side. Hit that bat. Hit the angle. That is, feels like more clay than the last time. A little undercut. Bat. It's ugly. It's ugly. Let's move some of that out. All right. So, there you have it. All the pressure from the outside. Push under, get that clay, lift it up. You hear that a lot. Now, there are a lot of forms that you need to do that. You start out with a wider base so that you can grab that clay. Because a lot of times you need to go taller, you need that clay, so you set yourself up ahead of time. But as a beginner or an intermediate student, you may not know that. And the curriculum that I have created for these classes is purpose-driven making, and that is, let's make our decisions before we start doing this so that what we get when we come out of it is a bigger success rate. Instead of just making something and hoping for the best, we're going to make some purpose behind it, and the purpose behind the pressure from the inside is that we don't want to shrink our base too much. So let's take a cut on this one. This is considerably thinner. Still a good pot, right? See that? Relatively consistent coming up. And just to give you an idea, what was that other one? 3.5. We are at 2 3/4. Right there, 2 3/4. Not the same. So this was all about when they're trying to get up underneath it and get that clay, they're compressing the base more and more and more and more and more. That's not good. Use a little pressure from the outside. Anyway, hope this was helpful. If you're having this problem, hope this was helpful. And hey, appreciate you looking. So there you go. I'm Bill and Warehouse Creations. So think about pressure from the outside a little bit. Match it up. Purpose-driven making, baby. All right. Ciao.